I actually hate how good Man City are at transfer business. They're good at buying, they're good at selling. They've brought in the fantastic Nunes, and they've managed to get 45 million for Cole Palmer. It's an absolute joke how good Man City are. And as a Man United fan, I just wish we could do what they do, because we are so bad at buying players United. And look, I think that Cole Palmer would be a very good signing for Chelsea. I think Cole Palmer, if he reaches his potential, then he is tier one potential. He's got arguably some would say higher ceiling than Phil Foden. I think Cole Palmer could be a fantastic signing for Chelsea, and I think that's the strategy Chelsea should be going for, these young players. There's no doubt in my mind, Man City getting 45 million for Cole Palmer, fair play. Manchester City signed Nunes, I think, for like 47 million and have sold Cole Palmer for 45 million. Man City have basically spent 2 million today and bought in Nunes and got rid of a young player. The thing is, Cole Palmer is that kind of guy. Before I even get into the news and the signing, Cole Palmer is that kind of guy where he could be worth like 150 million in like 3 years, and you're thinking, why did Man City sell him? Why didn't Man City give him a chance? Like, you know, Chelsea sold so many great academy players, and like De Bruyne was an academy player, Salah was an academy player, Musiala was an academy player. But then at the same time, you look at it and you go, well, actually, this could be them cashing in. You know, it's obviously a risk going to Chelsea. They've got an abundance of young wingers, but I think there's no doubt in my mind that, you know, Matheus Nunes is going to be a fantastic signing for City, and I'm going to get into Matheus Nunes to City and why it's such a brilliant signing in a second. But we've obviously got to get into this Cole Palmer news. Now, what I like about this is there's definitely a quality player in Cole Palmer. I think he's a natural central attacking mid, but he's played a lot on the wings, predominantly on the right. And it was very obvious that with Nkunku's injury and then losing players like Havertz and Mount, Chelsea needs someone that can play as a 10 and then operate out wide. And I think Cole Palmer ticks those boxes. I think when they were linked to Fati and Rafinha and Ferran Torres, I actually think, you know, Cole Palmer is a lot better than those players. Because I think the way Chelsea in the past would have gone for Rafinha, who I think is a little bit washed. Ferran Torres hasn't been great. Ansu Fati's injury prone. And while Ansu Fati's got arguably just as high a ceiling as Cole Palmer, Ansu Fati is on the injury list. Chelsea is practically a hospital ground at the moment anyway. So, you know, they couldn't be signing injury players. And look, they've paid like 100 million for Lukaku. They paid nearly 70 million for Cucurella. You know, I guess when you look at the value, 45 million for Cole Palmer isn't bad. I just think it's the fact that they're paying 45 million for a guy that hasn't scored a Premier League goal that I do think that Man City did well, because Man United are selling all their great academy players for 1 million, and I think, well, Man City would at least get 20 million for the star. You know, Man United would probably sell Garnacho for 15 million. I mean, Elanga went for 15 million, and obviously Cole Palmer has got special talent, and he's up there in that Phil Foden bracket, but you have to give it to Man City. 45 million, fair enough. I guess that Chelsea got 35 million for Lewis Hall, so in this market where Havertz is 65 million, Højlund is 60 million, Lewis Hall's 35 million, you could say actually 45 million is fair. The market is so saturated. You know, Lavia was 60 million. I could say it's 110 million. You actually could say 45 million is a fair price. But it's just, I think the player that's, you know, scored 6 career goals, not got many career minutes to go for so much is mad. But then I'm pretty sure Madrid spent like 70 million on a guy that played in the Brazilian league that was like 17. So I think 30 million would have been pretty good. You know, if Man United sold an academy player for 10 million, I'd be bloody raving. But it just highlights how good Man City are selling. But that's not to say this is a bad deal for Chelsea. I think Man City have done really well to get 45 million for this guy. And I actually didn't think Man City should have sold him, because I think they've sold a few wingers. They're a little bit less. They've got less depth with De Bruyne's injury in that attacking midfield role. I thought that this would be a good season for Cole Palmer, because I feel like Chelsea is stockpiling young talent, particularly on the wing. And part of me goes, well, could Cole Palmer fall into that players that just stockpiled at Chelsea because they seem to buy everyone? But then I think, well, clearly Chelsea have a plan for him, because they actually have been looking at attacking midfield and kind of wide player targets for a while. But then when Nkunku comes in, Noni Makieli, Mudryk, among hundreds of names at Chelsea, you think, oh, this is an interesting one. They've also got players like Broha, Nicholas Jackson, who obviously is going to play strike, a different role. But there's so many players at Chelsea, sometimes I thought, would he be better off staying at City? But then when I thought about it, you said, you know what, like Phil Foden doesn't get that much game time for City, and Phil Foden is obviously way more mature and advanced right now. So yeah, I mean, I've heard some Chelsea fans saying this is poor business. 45 million for a player that's hardly played, and look, he's not worth 45 million. But I think the reason he's worth 45 million is because he could be worth 100 million. Man United paid 60 million for Højlund, who's a bit more experienced, but I think, you know, it is a bit of an overpayment, but it's one of those where you look back on this in a couple of years and you go, what were they doing that much money for this guy that scored not a Premier League goal, and Chelsea need goals and he doesn't score goals? Or you go, wow, they've just brought a gem, and he is basically brought because he could be like in that talent level of the likes of like the top players. I'm talking the Pedris, the just like that kind of level, Pedri, Musiala talent level. And look, I mean, it's mad to think that Chelsea have spent 435 million this window. Spurs have spent that in 11 windows. So I think, the money they're spending is crazy. The worrying is they've got Sterling and Noni, they've got Mudryk, they've got Cuckoo. Does he fit him? I think he will fit in as well. But about Cole Palmer, he's a great little player, good young winger. He developed a good left sidedness recently, but he can play on both flanks. He can play as an 8, he can play as a 10. What he has got is good intelligence of the game. I think he's a technical player. He reads the game well. I'm not a Man City fan. I'm not an expert on Cole Palmer, but some people say he's the next Messi. We'll have to see. I think at City it's really hard to get lots of game time as a young player. We're still with Phil Foden. So if he does get a run of games, I think he could prove to be brilliant. But they've got Enzo Fernandez, they've got Sterling, they've got Cole Palmer. Chelsea have got some great players, and fair enough. And I do think that his potential would fit Pochettino. I think he's versatile, he's mouldable, variable striker, and look, good decision maker, and he can invert. So everything you want in the modern game as well. And I think it's a positive signing, but I just think it's a joke how good Man City are selling it. I just don't like it. But versatile, natural attacking midfielder that can play both wings, that is what Chelsea need. And then another player that I'm a massive fan of is Matheus Nunes. And Matheus Nunes is set to go to Man City. And I just sit here and I just think, you're joking me. You're thinking, man, Alice was begging Man United to sign Matheus Nunes last year. I was like, Man United, buy Nunes. He worked well with Casemiro. Guess what? He's a City player within a year. And they've only got a net spend of 2 million. Look, Matheus Nunes completes the most dribbles per game for a midfielder, 5.5. Matheus Nunes' ball carrying stats are fantastic. Him next to Rodri. People don't realise this, but Matheus Nunes next to Rodri. Oh my. And look, he's going to be good. I mean, and the thing about it is Kovacic is a good player, and he was a bit iffy at Chelsea last season. He goes to City and he looks great. If you're a good player that's proven to do well in the Premier League and you fit the City system and you go into the City system, 99% of the time you're guaranteed to do well. And that's Matheus Nunes. That is essentially done. And I wanted him at United. I think he's a fantastic player. So City have done a mad one. They've got one of the best midfielders going to partner Rodri that can carry the ball, that can dribble the ball, that's really good on the ball, really good number 8. Someone I begged Man United to sign last summer, someone I wanted United to sign. I couldn't believe that he went to Wolves. And now he's gone to City. And then they get 45 million for Cole Palmer. They get like 20 million for James Trafford, and Man United can't even sell Dean Henderson for 15 million. And Chelsea are signing everyone. And I think Man United are putting in 1 million bids for Amrabat that's getting rejected, 1 million loan bid. It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing because every time I want us to sign a player, they go to City, and then we sell a player for 1 million, and City sell a player for 40 million. Let's just think, you have to give it to City. They are an absolute joke in the transfer market, and I mean that like how good they are. Yeah, fair play to Chelsea, fair play to City. 2 serious clubs with 2 serious owners, and I know Chelsea buy everyone and have been a big fat mess, but Chelsea are a serious club. They're buying young players, they're buying young talents. City are a serious club. My club isn't serious.